Hello everyone, going to do a quick overview for Crystal of Atlan. The developers of this game were nice enough to give me access to the game and make me an official content creator despite not being in a serviced region. Right now, the beta is going to end, I think, tomorrow, and North America is not permitted to play. However, they were nice enough to, I guess, my user ID, you can see up there at the top, they approved it so that I can play the game regardless. I have a couple things to say before I get started. The first is that I know with these kinds of overviews for service games, people often want to know about the monetization. It's got nothing to do with my historically well-known low income. I literally cannot use the cash shop at all because I'm outside of one of the service regions. So if you want to know about the monetization, you'll have to go elsewhere. But I figured I'd just explain the combat and a little bit of the game flow. As you can see, what's really interesting about this game is that you have a normal attack. The dash feels pretty responsive. But what's interesting about this game is it's very controller-friendly. If you've ever played other MMOs on controller, sometimes it can feel like it's not really meant to be played on pad. It's way better with keyboard and mouse. But with this game, you actually have two skills or moves in one slot. So you can see right here. Hold on. If you see right here, if I push the right bumper, if I push it twice, two moves are mapped to that slot, which is actually really cool. So you basically have a total of 10 moves with a very accessible and practical controller layout. This is coming from somebody who used to play Dungeon Fighter Online on controller, and I can tell you, you definitely had to make a lot of sacrifices and put a lot of effort into making that game playable on controller in like endgame scenarios. Here, the controller, I haven't really played with keyboard and mouse, but it does feel like a very, accessible and practical controller scheme. So the dodge feels pretty responsive. Also, you have an air string. Let me summon a boss that will not die. Alright. That's just a little bit of what's possible. It actually feels pretty good. I didn't really want to play the Magic Blade. This is the Magic Blade class, but they don't have a lot of the other classes currently available. So this was probably the one that's more adjacent to my interest than what we usually have. It does feel very responsive. Unfortunately, hit stun on bosses seems to be relatively random. I'm not really sure if there's any kind of formula for it or if it's just gotcha pull hit stun, but there also has a perfect dodge mechanic. Let me see if I can get that off here. I don't know this enemy's attacks. It's basically a jobber enemy. But if you just dodge, you get a bonus to your gauge here. Let's see in the upper left-hand corner. Let me spawn a better enemy. So when you put the buff on, you get hyper armor and you get more damage. I do feel like the just dodge window is very janky. Sometimes it feels like you should get the window, but you don't. I don't know if that's something that will be fixed. I don't know if that's something that will be fixed later on. I haven't really looked at other updates for the game or anything. But it is nice how just dodges are incentivized, but the main problem with this game would probably be the hitboxes are very awkward. Sometimes it doesn't feel like
Thanks this time.
It doesn't feel like you, you know, should get hit. How do I get out of here? Alright, so let's go ahead and show some of the other systems. So this game is, it's kind of like a 3D version of Dungeon Fighter. You know, if you ever played that game, how there's a town and then there's instanced areas where you fight. There is an open world area later, but I did not get to that in the time that I had to play the beta. But basically you'll walk around and you'll talk to NPCs, and there will be like upgrade NPCs and stuff out here that you can use their facilities to upgrade your character. And then from there, you'll go into instances and you'll fight and you'll repeat. If you're a certified cutscene skipper like I am, you'll be happy to know that like 90% of the cutscenes are skippable. You won't have to watch anything. Genshin Impact, this is not. It does respect your time pretty well. It's actually very similar to Wuthering Waves, where if it's like a very high effort, high production value cutscene, like after a boss fight or before a boss fight, you can't skip it, but everything else, just like generic chatter with enemies, you can skip. So, I actually think it's pretty mobile and short playtime friendly. I was not able to get the game working on Steam Deck. I was able to get the game to install and launch, but the ID was not being recognized. I don't know if that will be fixed later. In terms of performance, it actually runs quite well. It runs at 120 FPS, pretty much locked all the time, and I'm on a computer that, for some reason, when I play like the competitors like Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves, I can't get 120 FPS. I'm assuming because of poor optimization. So, gameplay-wise, I think this game is pretty good because it's got pretty good combat. I will say that the hitboxes are very jank, and sometimes it feels like you get hit by things you shouldn't, like the enemy hitboxes are more unrealistic than yours. I found that the hitboxes for the playable characters feel pretty accurate. They don't feel like Muso hitboxes where, you know, you slash and it hits like 3 character lengths to the side. But then the bosses actually do have Muso hitboxes. So that would probably be my biggest critique about the combat, is that it doesn't feel like you get hit by things that you should. Like, you'll get hit and it's like, dude, I was way over to the side. How did I get hit by that? In any case, let's go ahead and show the enhancements. So if you go in here, there's everyone's favorite. If you play Dungeon Fighter or any Korean MMOs from before probably 2015, you'll be used to this. There's a threshold for upgrades, and once you get past a certain point, there is a lower success rate. Now, it doesn't seem like the weapon can break, which is nice. I think we're past that in these kinds of service games, but it is a pretty low rate. However, right now, they're giving a lot of really nice bonuses, like they have this upgrade thing here. You can upgrade something to plus 12. Now, I don't know how generous they're going to be when the game actually launches, because this is one of those betas where they have like the cash shop up, but it's a rebate. The game is going to wipe. So I don't know how friendly this will be. I personally didn't bother with it that much. I played this game almost completely blind. I did watch a number of gameplay videos about it when it first launched in China, but I didn't really look at any guides or anything. I thought the game was pretty enjoyable. We can go ahead and we can do a fight here, actually, so you guys can see some gameplay. Let's see here. I'll show a little bit of this so you guys can see some actual gameplay. See, the problem with me having access to this is I cannot test the cash shop. I tried numerous times to spend like $1 on the game and it didn't work. Which is admittedly what people want to know, because you know, these games can be pretty predatory, and sometimes people might not even want to play the game if they don't feel like they can play it on a low income, or they just don't want to spend a lot of money on games in general. The game does feel good to play. I could definitely see myself playing this long term, but I can't really comment on the monetization, unfortunately. I also didn't really feel like getting to max level because all of it's getting wiped, and I don't really have any investment because I can't use the cash shop. But you can see it does feel pretty good. I actually feel the cooldowns are relatively good. At the beginning of the game, it can definitely feel like you spend a lot of time doing your square string, but it does open up later. This is basically almost the full moveset unlocked, and you can see that there's pretty good pacing with the cooldowns. I know that you can get cooldown reduction later, but I didn't get that far in the game, unfortunately. Decent amount of the bosses actually staggered too. Even the big bosses feel fun to fight, but I definitely feel like their hitboxes need to be adjusted. I don't think anybody who plays action games like this enjoys unfair hitboxes. It actually is really nice how they have the multiple skill system mapped to one button, because it essentially means you don't have to dump all of them at once. It gives you a lot of freedom with how you want to play. A lot of games with cooldowns tend to devolve into just spamming everything when it's off cooldown, but there's actually a pretty good strategic element to whether you want to actually dump all your cooldowns or actually find ways to chain them together so that you can, you know, have a burst window or just do cool combos. But the beginning of the game definitely does feel pretty slow. Camera got a little jank there. You can see right there the just dodge window is very awkward and janky. I don't know if this is like a lot of other service games where, like, you know, this stuff has been fixed on the native version, but we're on a very outdated build of the game. I can't really comment on that, unfortunately. Alright, well, that's gonna do it for now. If you guys want to see what the gear is like, there's a number of slots and ways that you can upgrade them, which I assume is where the monetization lies, but like I said, I am not currently capable of testing that. So you have a total of 12 slots, and you have these circuit things here which allow you to customize your build more. Like this gives more attack. Avatars also have stats, which I think is a good and bad thing. I don't know if the game has transmog or not, but you are going to have stats and titles to, you know, fully optimize your character. So if you're used to Dungeon Fighter, if you're a DFO boomer like I am, you probably won't mind this that much, but service games have kind of moved past cosmetics having any kind of gameplay advantage. I wish that I could tell you more about the monetization, but I'm definitely not playing this in an intended way. Basically, they accepted me into the content creator program, and then I told them, like, wait, I'm not in the serviced area. Canada is the closest region that's serviced, and I think South America as well. And I'm over here in California, so I tried to get into the cash shop so that I could give a more constructive overview, but unfortunately, it's just not in the cards. I will let you guys know how the monetization is when the game fully releases. I do think the game is quite fun. I would say my main criticism I haven't mentioned yet would be that it seems like the game is starting really far behind. There's like a good 10 or so classes coming to the game that we don't have access to yet currently, and I think that's going to hold a lot of people back from wanting to play the game, because we're kind of moving past service games having like staggered releases, and you know, when they put it out in another region, like another part of Asia or over here in America on our side of the hemisphere, what ends up happening is people don't want to play until their favorite character is available. And I do think that is a misstep. The class selection right now is very limited, and then if you go and look at some of the classes that are coming to the game, you have like a straight up ninja, you have 2 martial artists, you have all these cool like character archetypes that we would expect to be in the game, and it's like they are in the game, but we don't have access to them. We don't really know what the volume of content updates is going to be. Like, is it going to take a year to get those characters, or are they going to stagger them out over a few months? I definitely think that those are things that are kind of unanswered right now, so you might want to look at some of the class videos that are available on other channels besides mine, and see if there's a class that you like, and then if you only want to play them, you might want to wait, unfortunately. But the game is quite fun. It does have its fair share of jank. The production values are pretty nice, and the game, and more importantly, runs very well. You know, Wuthering Waves and stuff, there were a lot of complaints about the lack of a skip button and poor performance, even on more than capable computers, and, you know, this kind of just ran at 120 FPS out of the box, and almost everything has been skippable. The fatigue system is definitely pretty restrictive, so if you're not used to having to, you know, play the game for like an hour or maybe like 90 minutes tops and then stop until the next day, that would be a pretty big criticism as well. I think what's worse about this game is that it actually time gates the story, meaning that if you see here, this upper left-hand corner, I have 120 stamina. Right now, I'm done with the story, but you will basically complete an entire chapter, and then at that point, it will tell you, wait until the plans arrive. What that means is that you have to wait until the entire next daily reset to go further in the story, and I think that's probably the dumbest thing. I don't really know if that goes away if you wait past the threshold. Like, if you started playing the beta now, I'm not quite sure if it will just let you skip that threshold, but it's very time gated at the beginning. I'm used to this kind of thing because I'm a DFO boomer. I definitely don't really mind it that much, but compared to other games on the market right now where you can play like basically forever, and they will have like time gates and other ways, like things that give you character progression materials or whatever will be time gated, but you can still play. You definitely feel very limited in this game, but I'm sure, like most games, Devil May Cry Pinnacle of Combat is very similar to that, where, you know, at the beginning of the game was very restricted with stamina, but once you finish the story, you can pretty much just play all day if you have enough stamina. I assume that's how it's going to work here. In any case, I really enjoy the game. This is not sponsored, by the way. I'm not getting paid for this in any capacity. I could definitely see adding this to my daily routine, but there's a number of things unanswered right now. The pacing of the updates, and then also the monetization is very uncertain right now, at least on my end. But I'll definitely play this more when it fully releases. Thanks for watching.